later on, he's coming in from out of town. And it's all about schedule right now, the time works.
Okay.
Oh, and if you have any prints from the NT library, they're in the back room. I don't know if everybody's picked all of theirs up, but they are here, so.
Okay,
Give me afterwards.
very good. Let's roll.
All right. I can't get rid of that screen sharing. Okay, this is my image. I actually took this with a cell phone. You know, obviously we've had enough snow. I thought, there was a JPEG, so I thought I'd see what I could do with it. Because I like the picture. I mean, I could probably print a 16 by 20 of this without an issue. I made that, and then I got a big fondness for black and white. And I probably like the black and white the best.
Did you bring the editing into Lightroom or Photoshop?
Yes. Oh yeah, it wasn't edited on the phone. Hey, where's Chuck?
Well, I guess I'm up.
There you go. Speaking to the mic. Just take
Into
it.
the mic. Ooh, shocking. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah.
I belong to the Photography Society of America, and we had our conference in Portland, Oregon in September. And about an hour and 15 minutes over to Cannon Beach. If you've ever been to the Pacific Northwest coast, it's absolutely beautiful. Further to the right is the famous haystack monolith. And we turned and walked south from there. And this sort of struck my fancy. It was early in the morning. As you can tell, the sun is just coming up. I was blessed with a really nice cloud formation. When I started to post-process this, incidentally, I took this with my Z8. I had a 28-400 on the camera. This is an F11 1/250th, and it was taken at 28 millimeters, and low on a tripod. When I first opened it up, there were little dots along the shore there, and I couldn't determine whether they were people walking on the beach or what it was. So I zoomed in, and there were a bunch of seagulls there. And I didn't want the viewers to do the same thing I did and say, what the heck are those things? So I took them out. The other thing that I tried to do with this is create a lot of leading lines. And I think they're pretty evident.
Oh, yeah.
You've got the ocean, you've got the clouds to some degree. You got this, the thing on the left was really large in my photograph, and I cropped it out. And I also moved the monolith off center so that it, they tell you to don't ever put everything in the center. And it was a really beautiful morning. I got a 14 on this a couple of months ago. And the only comment was that the judge felt that the right side should have been a little brighter. I sort of disagree because, where's the sun coming from? I did lighten it up a little bit in post-processing. But I think it turned out pretty well.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
No.
No, I was 250th of a second, and I was at F11. That's the way it came out.
Eric?
Can't see in here. There we go. Thank you. Okay, these next series of pictures that I have here, I've been taking pictures. I got my first 35 millimeter camera when I was in my later teens. So I've been taking pictures for a long time, but it's just that, taking pictures. I've never really gotten into photography until, recently over the last number of months. I've been trying to hone my skills and things like that. That being said, I've never had any kind of post-processing software either. What I've discovered is that before they sell anybody a camera, they should give you a test and see if you really deserve to have a camera, because Lord knows with my original pictures, some of them are questionable, but at least it gave me a chance to practice and try some things out. So this picture is at Allegheny. It's the administrative building. And the picture on top was the before. The picture on the bottom's after I got on one software. I just purchased that about a month ago, and I've been playing around. Like I say, I've never used any, and for me, it's a pretty big learning curve. All you folks have been using software for a long time, so excuse the some of the elements in it, but like I say, I'm learning, and I could certainly use some feedback from people. On the patio on the right-hand side, towards the bottom, my wife looked at it, she goes, gee, what's all that orange construction tape? When you zoom in on it, it's actually a bunch of umbrellas going across. So I didn't want to take those out, but maybe they should have come out because it still can be somewhat distracting. But I took out some of the signs, changed the color, cropped it in a little. And like I say, this is one of the next 3 pictures following this are the same thing. They're, my before and after of my learning process here. So
Good job.
thank you. This one is definitely nothing that would ever be submitted because I used an actual artificial sky that was available through the software. But the top picture is a before at the Air Force Base back, I think it was 2018, the air show. And it was a very gloomy sky and stuff like that. So I took that picture, just wrote that was the direction it was going in. So I rotated that, did a little bit of color adjustment, and brought in that sky and had it flying into the sky. Like I say, I know that's with the artificial intelligence. That isn't something that's, it's frowned on, I guess. I know, like I say, it wouldn't be something entered, but I thought it made a nice image. And like I say, it got me some practice using some of the different features within the software.
Good job.
Thank you. Okay, and that one is at Green Lake State Park. My wife and I went hiking there, and the original picture, I like the place, but it's definitely overexposed. But I thought that there was something I could do with it. That is one that I'm pretty sure I imported a sky in that too. That's not the original sky, but the other changes and things like that were within the sliders and the different things like that for the particular layers that I was able to pick out and stuff like that. So made a world of difference, that's for sure. So then this next one is, I love pictures of train tracks and things like that. And I kind of took a lesson from you, Paul, with the one picture that you have of the train downtown. I like the movement type things. So, the one on the left is the original. The one on the right is the perspective of if you were on the back of the caboose, and it was moving. I've got a few pictures at home that I want to play around with that too. I've got from racetrack down in Watkins Glen from a practice that I wanted to try that with the cars. I've got some of my son skateboarding that I'd like to play around with that as well. But there's definitely a lot for me to do between the layers and just figuring out how to get the 2 images on one photo took me a little bit too, to create the canvas and then bring them in on it and stuff like that. That was another learning experience. But once I did the first one, the rest of them followed pretty well. So.
The train is moving, the camera is still, or?
Well, that's the impression that I'm trying to give. The one on the left, everything is still. It's just me standing on the train track. But on the right, it's as if the train were moving, and you're on the back of the train. That's what that's trying to imply.
Does anybody know how to get rid of this top part of the zoom?
There's a thing that says stop share.
No, I don't want, no. Before-
No, I see what you mean.
Maybe under more, there's.
Yeah, but if we're going to use this for critiques, we don't want it to show up here either. Video panel. Well, that took care of one of it. High floating media control.
There, okay. All right, so that's what I got. Again, if anybody's got any thoughts or suggestions for me, when we're at the break, if you remember what my pictures look like.
One caveat.
Yes.
Some photo shows do not want people on train tracks for obvious reasons.
Okay.
And so, the old style, tie your girlfriend to the tracks or whatnot and that kind of thing. Even though the tracks may not be used. or
Okay.
whatnot, those pictures may be bounced because they
Good
just
to know.
don't want people playing on
Okay.
train tracks. People have been unfortunately
Yeah.
injured and killed.
Yeah.
kind of thing. So, I mean, I realize nothing's moving.
No, but I appreciate
Just
the
if we
feedback
ever
on that.
show.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Eric, did you use the blur filter on the right-hand side or?
No, that was just one of the filters for adding motion to it.
Motion blur.
And you can twist it, you can do it any different way and stuff like that, yeah.
Can do that in Photoshop. I just didn't know how you.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, Eric,
You're next.
So the double decker carousel at the fair, I think this was from 2 years ago. I have a hard time shooting there. So pretty much this is just done an HDR shot. I had to take out the lights that were in the background. They were actually appearing just over and on the left side. Took those out, but pretty much left everything else in. I had to wait for the crowds to clear to get rid of the people. Other than that, I got a few people on the carousel, so it's in use and it's not in motion. So
I really like the way the horse stands out with the black background.
yeah, yeah, it was nice to get the shadow lines and things in there too. Lighthouse, Port Clinton, Ohio. I stay in Port Clinton when I go up to McGee Marsh. And across the street is this little like strip park. And this lighthouse is within it. I'm hoping this year, if I get a chance to get down there to take my drone and actually get a shot from the water with it. As you can see, it's really close to the water. Even with my 14 to 35, I kind of don't like the picture because of all the distortion. Took out a sign. That was about it. Sky wasn't too bad. There was actually clouds there. Usually every time I go there, it's nice and sunny or it's completely overcast. So this was a nice break from that. It was late enough that the lighthouse is actually working. That's about it.
Is this open at night?
Yeah, it's just like I say, it's a strip park. It's not actually to the right, as you can see in the background, there's homes. That's the main drag that goes in and out of Port Clinton. I say it's kind of a strip park. It's a few 100 feet wide, but it's not like yeah, the sun wasn't too far off to the left. Left, is it? That don't sound right. I think it had to be in back of me or something. Back at the fair, just trying motion. Honestly, I can't remember if I actually handheld this or if I had my tripod. But slow at least 1/30th of a second at least. Only thing I would have liked is probably to do this earlier, probably during blue hour or something. This one was the best out of the set, but I have others where the chairs were disappeared totally, so you didn't really know what this was. Well, actually, I'm standing right at the fence for this. Maybe that I was shooting with the
super wide.
with the 14 to 35 to get it. Other than that, yeah, that's it.
Janet. It's done.
So, we've been indoors and I was catching up on some of my just tutorials, learning things. And I'm a member of Mike Motz's Macro Photo Club. And he has I just came across one of his little tutorials on doing oil on water photos. This is an old technique. I had never tried it before though. So it's just a technique where you put a picture or something with lights on the table. You build it up with either books or something, a platform, and then you have some kind of a clear container, either a Pyrex bowl or I have a big like plastic box. And you have it up off of the table a bit, and you're looking straight down with your camera. So you're shooting straight down from the top. You put some drips of water on, or you fill it with water, you put some drips of oil. It can be any kind of cooking oil or oil in the water. And then, and then you get these effects. And so by the oil being higher, you're getting that with the picture below being blurred out. I was using my macro lenses, 50 millimeter and a 90 millimeter Olympus, my macro lenses. So I was just playing around for about 4 days, taking different pictures, changing the picture underneath. So this was one of the techniques. My background was a picture that I had taken of like a spiral, kind of, you know, what Bob Miller does. It was just like a picture I had done on a software editing.
Oh, so that was the picture. The drops didn't do that?
No, the picture looked more like these, and some are more in and out of focus depending on, you know, where the water is floating or the oil is floating. The technique that I've seen calls for putting your camera on a tripod, looking straight down, but those little suckers move around. They don't stay, but you can take like a long, like a shish kebab stick or a toothpick, and you can slowly move the oil to where you want it, but they're going to keep moving. So you only have a few seconds. So, you know, some will break off and.
That's a real nice symmetry to it.
Yeah, I had to place those, but they just want to kind of go where they want to go. No, I was just, you got to just take pictures. So I was just looking down, and the thing about it is you're bending forward for such a long time. It's your back is dying. It's just, yeah, but it's. Well, all right, you got your picture, whatever it is. The picture's on the bottom. I used 4 glasses, and then I have it's probably a 12 by 12 plastic. I bought it at Michael's. It's like for an office organizer, but it's a plastic, clear plastic, just a little dish, like and you put about half an inch of water in it. And then you drip some oil on it.
So where is the light coming from?
The light, I was by a window. Okay. So it was a window. Some of them though, as you see, I did use I have little lights that I shined on the picture because the light was getting low.
After 4 days, yeah.
You try, it's just a lot of experimentation. So I was like, I started getting all these crazy ideas. So this was where I kind of started. Oh, I just have bottles for my hair coloring.
Yeah.
They've got the small little tips on it, anything with a small tip, and you can just drip it on. At first I was pouring it and using a spoon, and then I said, you got to be more precise. And the one thing they don't tell you when you do all these videos, I finally found a video, and you'll see some of the pictures when I didn't do what I did. You have to put one little drip of like dish soap in the water, and it causes the oil to suck up and make, very small circles, or else it's flat. So it changes the water surface. So you have to just one teeny little drop, and all of a sudden all your oil just sucks together. So So this is without that little drop of oil. So you get a whole different effect, which is very cool. I mean, without the dish soap. But the oil is more spread out and you don't get as much of that coming through from the bottom. But I thought this was kind of a cool effect too.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's very
yeah.
neat.
And you don't know what you're going to get. And of course, in post-processing, I didn't really change much. I just kind of enhanced the colors. There really wasn't much. So again, now this is, and it's from the height you do it, that's the settings with your camera, how much depth you get. You just get different effects every time you do it. You just keep playing around.
How big of an area in your dish is this? Like this?
Oh, it's probably less than an inch square. So I'm very macroed in. It's quite a macro shot. And this again was in the beginning. This was when I didn't use the drop of dish soap. And I'm vigorously mixing things up and I go, oh, you can't do that because then you're going to get all these bubbles. So you learn these little things afterwards. It's like, no, get rid of the bubbles. Let the bubbles come out of the water before you put the oil in, all these little things. Yeah, like the water starts to, like when you have a glass of water and the bubbles start coming out.
Now the coloring in that one background is just from whatever you had under it.
Yes, this is all the picture underneath that. Yeah, but I have so many. I did it for like 4 days straight because it was just like so much fun. But you get such a different effect every time. So if you don't like what you're doing, just keep doing it and you'll get different effects. So those were my 4.
Great, thanks for sharing.
Maria.
I don't know if they-
Hi. My new winter sport is driving around, jumping out of the car after I park and taking a picture because I don't do winter sports anymore. So I took this over by the Audubon. There was a few pictures I took and I actually should have put them in, but I kind of forgot. But it's just a nice cold day. The lake was frozen and it's pretty snow on everything. And that's about it.
Is the green light still? Yeah, it's still working.
So Maria tells us this is her first share. So,
Yeah.
There you go, Maria. That's awesome.
Give it to Mike. Mike, give Mike the mic.
Mike, there you go.
Okay, this was not a prepared shoot because I was at the Elmwood Avenue Festival, Art Festival, and walking around with my wife. And I'd never, this is the Unitarian Church, and I'd never been inside. So it was open and they were allowing people to visit. And I noticed these shadows, they were just incredible. It was a bright sunny day and I didn't have a tripod. It was not handheld because what I did is I put the camera on a stack of Bibles. So I wouldn't be so I wouldn't be on the floor.
That's a blessed image.
But I think it's like at F11 and I tried to stop it down as much as I could. And I focused about a third of the way into the picture. And I believe it was at F11 and it was with a 35 millimeter lens. Any questions? And this one is not HDR, but I
Sure?
worked the hell out of it. Okay. These are the sunflowers of Sanborn. And, I just tried to get something different.
Yeah.
Everybody takes, the full sunflower. And I said, I had my macro lens on. And I said, oh, I saw this little drop of water. Pardon? No, it was there. It was like early morning. So it was dew left over from the night. And I just thought it formed a nice little image because you know what it is based on the reflections in the water droplet. And this was probably at f/16. Okay, sometimes you got to be lucky. This is Tamarack Falls, just north of Ithaca. Gorgeous place, but you got to be there when the color is right. And I got lucky. I think me and Mike Hillsmeyer and John Griffin went to photograph this. And we caught the color nearly at peak. It had pretty good water flow, which you don't always get in the fall. And I was lucky enough that those are real clouds. They're mine, and they're in the sky. No artificial clouds there, and everything just worked. Of course, this one is HDR'd, big time. I think I took maybe either 3 or 5 exposures, and it's with my Nikon 16-35 lens. Probably on the wider side, maybe 16 to 20-ish. But you got the other problem with going here is certain days, like if you go on a weekend, there's all kinds of people that you don't want in the picture. And this was on early, I think it was pretty early in the morning, and fortunately the tourists hadn't arrived yet.
I really like the framing on that too. It almost looks like a heart, especially at the bottom, the way it comes down.
Yeah, well, I deliberately tried to frame it like that, and I appreciate that you noticed it. Okay, I shoot a lot of sports, and why I like this one, besides, is everybody's looking at the ball and they all got their arms stretched out, almost pointing at it. And I just thought it worked because it's probably the best sideline shot I've ever taken. And this all depends on access. I had access to shoot on the sidelines of the UB court. Now I don't have it anymore. They only allow, they're quotes copywriting the venues, and they're not allowed in. Even if you were sitting in a seat, you take out a regular camera, you're going to get hassled. So, but this was before that day, and before they got greedy. And I was just lucky. I normally shoot around f8, 5, 6 to 8, and it just worked. The ball's exactly where I want it to be. You can sort of see she's inbounding it to the other girl, and it was more the position of hands. I love the arms and the way they're all pointing towards the ball. Yeah.
And honestly, not one hand or arm is merged with another. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, if you take 100 of these, seriously, you'll get one that works. Sports photography, if you get 10%, that's a fantastic take. And I was just reading a website by a professional sports photographer, and he said the exact same thing. He said, you're lucky. It's a good day if you get 10%.
What's your shutter speed on that?
Oh, I like to shoot basketball at 1,000th of a second. So it was either, it may have been a 500th, but I'm pretty sure it was 1,000th of a second. That's why the ball is sharp.
I thought that would be maybe like 2,000.
No, 1,000 is enough to freeze the action pretty much in basketball. Depends on the sport, you're shooting tennis or something like tennis, baseball, you need to really up the 2,000th, even a 4,000th of a second for tennis. But for basketball, track, that kind of thing, 1,000th of a second is usually fast enough. And of course, I really up the saturation and everything. I only use pretty much now Lightroom because Lightroom's got everything you need in it. So I rarely take it to any other software.
Okay, Paul?
Thank you. So these pictures aren't really going to match necessarily, just of a hodgepodge. I, could not make Janet's trip to the Cave of the Winds on that Sunday. We were going to Rochester to visit our son. So on Monday, one of the advantages of finally being retired, I went by myself and went down. So this is from the platform of the Cave of the Winds, sort of looking backwards. The weather it was really cold weather at that time. So we're talking, I don't know, 5-10 degrees, something like that. And the mist coming off the waterfall coated all the ice. So it was really, really neat. And then there was just a little outcropping of water that was coming through the wall. And I got a little bit of a flare in the corner. So I was happy with that picture. Kind of thing. This goes back to Christmas of 24. I was in Minneapolis, another warm place. And they have a light show for winter at their botanical garden. So my brother and sister-in-law who live there took my wife and I out, and it just, the standard neon lights, can look very common. So I tried to make it a little different. So I was stopping, every couple of minutes and zooming and whatnot, kind of thing. And this is just a handheld zoom of I don't even remember what the thing was, but whatever. It was just neat. That's all. And I think it was just something different. From time to time, scenes speak to me. I don't know why. So this is the Airbnb in Minneapolis, and the sun coming in through the apartment window, and the garbage can and the floor and everything else, and it just, wow, it just spoke to me. So it was like, great. So I can't tell you it's any great piece of work or whatnot, but it just spoke to me. My daughter is literally 5 feet away, asleep on the couch because we only had one bedroom in the apartment. My wife and I had it, so I got up before everybody got up and wandered around. So it just, yeah, just it just spoke to me. So I don't know. Sometimes it does. And the last one, and then back to the Cave of the Winds, shooting up at the falls. I tried in my mind thinking, how could I make that into like one big bird's nest? But I couldn't quite get it to work. So nonetheless, it's still a nice picture of the falls. What time of day? This was about 1 p.m. I got there right at high noon at the parking lot. By the time I bought my ticket, went down and walked around and waited for a number of the visitors. There were surprisingly probably 15 or 20 visitors on a Monday at noon in that kind of weather. So they had to clear out and whatnot. Because on this one, actually, I photoshopped out a visitor's hand right here. Because someone's there, pointing kind of thing. So whatever. But anyway, single shot. Yep. Handheld, 1000 f8 with auto ISO kind of thing. No, I'm sorry. Yes. I put that on in the car before I left the car because I figured my fingers would be too cold to screw it on, screw it off. It was hard enough. I ended up borrowing one of my wife's thinner pair of gloves because I don't have really good photo gloves kind of thing. So she's got a very thin pair of neoprene gloves with a little leather sewn on the fingertips to scroll on your phone. So I use that kind of thing. So Don't tell her though. So that's about it. I think that's my 4. Yeah.
Fall, you get the rainbow and mist, and you get the sun rays, and it's more dramatic than the whole thing when you shot. So anytime really after like 1:30, you're gonna get some.
There you go.
Rich.
I finally figured out how to do this. I thought I entered these last month, but they didn't come through because I didn't hit the go send button. What I want to share with you, just as most of you know, I love photographing landscape nature. And this is the day that I decided that I wanted to do nothing but photograph landscape. And I've since gone a little bit beyond that, but this was September 29th, 2014. Sally went to work really early one morning. She's traveling all over, who knows where in those days. I got up, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, looked at the weather and thought, I'm going to drive up to Lake Placid today. And I'm going to get up there this afternoon and I'm going to find this place that I've been looking for. If you notice, this is an outcropping. This is not quite the summit of Mount Joe. It's not a terribly hard hike. It's just a little over a mile up, except it's straight up. So it takes some time. I drove all the way up there, went up there, and I realized a couple of things that I found. Is first of all, I was going to do landscape photography for as long as I could breathe. And secondly, that I would go to the Adirondacks every fall for as long as I was alive, which I have since done. I absolutely love it up there because if you're a nature photographer, nature involves everything. There's panoramas, there's grand landscapes, there's just more intimate landscapes, there's close-up landscape, landscape and nature never end. And it's really found in everything we photograph. But I found this outcropping. It took me about a month to find it on Google Maps, and the park rangers don't want you up there, so they don't tell you how to get up there. But Sally and I finally found it. I went up, climbed up. It was about 3 o'clock. It was 70 degrees. The winds were, I just sat up there and thought I fell off the mountain and went to heaven. And I just sat there for 3 hours plus by myself, not a photographer in sight. I could hear them moving up to the summit behind me because this place really wasn't all that well known. This is Heart Lake. I know, Ann, you've been there with us, and I'm sure others might have been down there before. But I sat up there all afternoon. The peak across the way is Algonquin Peak. It's probably not a great image, but every time I look at it, I'm there. And to me, that's why I photograph, because I love, I just love being in nature ever since I was a little kid. I had a less than stellar childhood, so I found all my solace by going out in the woods and the creeks and doing all that kind of stuff. So that's the story of this image. This is when I got more serious about landscape. And there's the other, I'm just going to throw, you can throw them up quickly, Bob. This was Sally and I were up September 2 years ago. And we went up to this place called Harrietstown, and you're looking at the Mackenzie Range. Whiteface Mountain is on the left there. But anyway, we drove up there in the dark. This is 30 images blended. With an Nikon Z8, the file on the TIFF of this was like off the charts. So I had to shrink it way down. But I was there with a 400 millimeter lens focusing on the sunrise over there. And I'm just taking these shots. And it was a beautiful, we got up there, you don't know what you're going to get. It was dark when we got there. So I'm trying to get the fog in the valley and some of the peaks in the back there. And all of a sudden I kind of looked up and it's like, I think we're going to have a nice sunrise. And so it got so pretty, I didn't know what to do. So I thought, can I go wide? Can I, so I just decided I'd do a panorama of the whole damn thing. And it lasted like this for probably 25 or 30 minutes. And it was just, and so I've got like 1,000 pictures of this I've never even looked at, believe it or not. But that's what you get up there in the fall. And so this was something, we were up there with our friend Dave Linney, and Sally and I go up with Dave and shoot. Dave's a member of Napa now. He used to be the president of, which camera club, yeah? Do you remember? Oh, St. Catharines, yeah. And then he was also, I think, Hamilton. But anyway, we go up a lot. He loves going up there as much as we do. And so, and it's nice. This is right at the side of the road. I mean, how do you not? So that was that one, Bob. And this next one, I was there with Ann with this picture. This is at the top of almost at the top of Whiteface. We were with we do a retreat. It's a retreat group, a group of about 10 of us that go up there every fall for a week. And then we extend it a week either side. And we drove up to the parking lot. I don't know if any of you have ever been up to Whiteface Mountain, But you get up there and you think you're at the top. You park and you think, there's about 1,000 more steps to get up there. So I got about 800 of those steps up and said, screw that. So I stopped and I just watched as the sun was going down. This is Lake Placid. I always thought the village of Lake Placid was on Lake Placid, but it's not. It's on Mirror Lake. But so this is, and I just stood looking down. It's just and it just got prettier and prettier. I'm all about layering and landscapes and stuff. So it's the first time I ever really saw the whole lake at one time. Bob, last one real quick. Here I was standing with Ann and Sally and our friend Dave Lindy again. This is Tupper Lake and Simon Pond, and this is right literally on the road. And we went over there early one morning, and we thought maybe we'll get a sunrise. And it was just the craziest thing I've ever seen because you got your you've got, I mean, it was actually, and it's just a single shot. But that's the kind of stuff you get up there and how, for me, it's like nirvana. So I just thought what I'll do is share. I don't do much with my images, but I'll share more of my Adirondack photos with you guys during these share nights because it's what I love to do. So thanks. Anybody else? Next.
Dick Roach.
I don't know if this is doing anything. Hang on.
So this is on Hawaii, and I've been there numbers of times. But if you look at this way down here, you can see there's a helicopter. And if that helicopter wasn't in there, you'd have no idea how high those falls are. And so I've been, as I said, I've been there a number of times, and it just happened that day, a touring helicopter came in, and I thought that really made it visible as to say how high that is. The helicopter is really cool. They have an open door helicopter. My wife was sure she was going to fall out, but you do have a strap on. You're not going to fall out. But you can take an open door helicopter tour through the mountains of Hawaii, and you can really get some good shots. But again, if you don't have anything in it to tell what the distance really is, is that a 50-foot waterfall or is it 500 feet? So I think you need something in there. In this case, I just like the helicopter in there. So. Okay, I live in Youngstown, and I honestly think I had never seen sunset like we get there. This was a foggy day, and it was really kind of a funny day. And all of a sudden we got this fantastic sunset. And it's just this fog just was kind of filled in with it. That's looking across the Lower River. That's Niagara and the Lake of Texas. And it's amazing. You can just, the boats behind the boat, the picture is kind of washed out. There's a couple other boats that you really can't see. So it's just kind of all of that sunset when we get there. Oh, yeah, that's my boat. Okay, this is the other side of Hawaii. This is the North Shore. The mountains that I was on are the other side, on that other picture, on the other side. You can't drive to here, okay? Well, you could drive to here, but you can't drive along the edge. The only way you can really see that is with a helicopter. What I really enjoyed there is the shape of the waves. I mean, this wave probably started in Japan. That's probably Hawaii, okay? And I had some close-ups of the waves, but when you have again close-ups, it's 10 feet tall, about 30 feet tall. So I thought that with this particular picture, by having a little shore in it and going back, and then having a mountain in the background, you can get some idea of how high those particular mountains are always foggy. I just never see them. I'm on shore. You should go all the way up to the North Shore of Hawaii, as far as you can go, and then there's a park. And then you can get in. And there is a beach. But depending on how much the weather is like, it's amazing the fish that you will see. Fish. Okay. One in particular fish that you always hear, it looks like a horn. only about this long, but it's got this horn coming out. It really looks, it really. Oh, okay. This is the really one that I took San Gimignano. This is a statistic amount of all 4 countries north of the what I got a kick out of was just my own self thing, but obviously it's an old door. And you look up here and you see the old lock, and you see then it has some new locks. But then when you got all the way down the bottom, he's got a lock and key. And here's a door that's probably been there since 1400, but he's got brand new lock and key on it, which is so incongruous that I thought, I gotta take a picture. The other thing was, it keeps going, what are they locking in? Okay, that's to keep people in, or something in there. Was it a horse? Was it a person? What was it? But you know, if you get off, San Gimignano is you know, it's a touristy place. It's been there, the big towers that they have built there. Each guy built one to see if he can outbuild his neighbor, show how much money he has. And if you get off the main drag there, you can find some really interesting things. So we're going up there. It's kind of an interesting day to have a pretty cool museum there. And back in the 1400s, the people who run the museum claim San Gimignano was probably one of the wealthiest in the world. They were able to, because of the global warming that they had, they were able to grow things there that they couldn't be grown before and can now not grow any longer. Of course, that global warming stopped. And who started it? Well, we didn't have all the problems we have today, but they had global warming. Okay, so that's it. Those are my 4. Who thinks? Who's thinking? Was I last?
Miller, let me just check something here. You're still recording? Still recording. Okay.
There you go.
I'm not sure which end is which, but in any event, the veterans group that I belong to had a wildlife competition last month. So for those of you who are aware of it, 2 Mile Creek is a great place to take pictures of animals. And so I went over there and there was a whole herd of deer and there was only 1 buck. Poor guy. And then right down the road from there, there was a whole flock of turkeys. So it was a great opportunity. So
Where's 2 Mile Creek?
Runs over off from Sheridan to the park, Niawanda Park.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Right past Sheridan Golf Course.
Mhm.
Yeah. As most of you know, I submit a lot of creative photography. So I decided this time I'm not going to do any creative to share. So I'm sharing non-creative stuff. We had a, that's good, Bob. Okay. We had a field trip up to Niagara Aquarium. It's a great place to go, but what a challenge as a photographer. you get lights in here that you don't, like you can see there's an aquarium in the background and you see lights in the background. It really makes it difficult taking photography indoors with aquarium and see-through aquariums and so on and so forth. But in any event, it was an enjoyable day. So. Again, I saw it, I thought, it just looked nice just laying there. I love scuba diving. We used to go to Aruba and we used to go to Cancun and I'd snorkel there. And you love snorkeling. So this isn't exactly the same, but you get the same kind of feeling that you're seeing stuff that you don't normally see every day. And then finally, the colors that these aquariums bring out, it's just amazing the colors that you can get. So that's it. Thanks.
Steve. I don't know how to pronounce your name.
I think that's the microphone.
Okay. This is my little point and shoot Fuji. And this is Alaska, and that's the only road in and the only road out of Denali. And so now Ann guided me, and I have new fancy equipment that I'll have to put to work now. But that was a trip my wife and I probably took maybe 10 years ago. That is a calving glacier. So I caught the spray there just after the piece of the glacier fell into the water. I'm trying to think whether this is Mendenhall Glacier, but again, just I mean, it's awfully hard to take a bad picture in Alaska, and that's
The glacier?
far
Oh,
out.
okay, right.
And that is, we were very fortunate. Amy and I, a lot of people go to Alaska and never get to see Denali. And so that's Denali in the background there. And our guide in the bus just said, pull over. And the bus pulled over and we all got to get out and take pictures.
Gorgeous.
Late August, early September. So there's my first share.
All right. That's the last one.